It is wild that we are here on Capitol Hill and that we're using words like Greys, Nordics, Reptilians, and Insectoids in a formal UAP
it was
briefing.
Wild to me. It was wild that he said it openly to a member of Congress. We're focused on trying to get people that have got firsthand experience.
Firsthand experience with what?
With non-human intelligence.
Do you think that aliens exist?
You can prove quantum entanglement. It's proof that there is more dimensions than this dimension. The question is, and has yet to be proven, is there life in that other dimension?
What about angels?
That's a good question.
At this moment, some people watching this are going to be thinking, you guys are nuts.
I can definitively say, 100%, we have a crash retrieval program.
The question is, what exactly is it retrieving?
If it's true, it's a paradigm shifting moment.
If it were to be true, do you think the American people could handle it?
I owe it to you and the American taxpayer to figure out what is going on.
Capitol Hill can be pretty dry, right? But 2 months ago, I was here during a briefing about UFOs, also known as UAPs, when Congressman Eric Burlison asked a question that just blew my mind.
Can you comment on whatever species have been that have been piloting these craft? How are they large? Are they multiple species?
Now, Burleson wasn't asking those questions to just anyone. He was asking those questions to Eric Davis, who is a physicist with a history of really high-level security clearances, who spent decades consulting for the Pentagon. And what Eric Davis says next is just...
They're typically the multiple species. People are familiar with the Greys, the Nordics. People have talked about reptilians and insectoids. It's not that they're reptilian or insectoid, it's that they resemble to the percipient, a reptile or an insect type, humanoid, because they have a head and 4 limbs and torso. So
Large? Small?
human size, human scale.
So I have been begging Burleson for an interview ever since, and today is finally the day. Congressman, when did you first become interested in UFOs or UAPs? Was it back home in Missouri or after you got to Washington about 2 years ago?
I'm a child of the 80s, so I've seen Star Wars, Star Trek. I've seen all of the sci-fi stuff and always really found it fascinating, but always parked it in the area of being sci-fi, of being fiction, right? And I still am very skeptical that this phenomenon is real, but I delved into it because I saw David Grush come forward in the news as a whistleblower and over, on television interviews was requesting to be able to meet with members of Congress. And I was a new member. I'd been here for 3 months and I thought, wait a minute, I'm a member of Congress. He's talking to me. And so we reached out, and that's kind of how this journey began.
And I mean, you're not just a member of the House Oversight Committee, you're also a member of the UAP caucus. Why do you care about it so much?
What I care about is doing a good job. And so I'm in that role. I'm on the committee. And if I'm going to be on the committee, I'm going to take the same approach that I took in the private sector and do my best and be aggressive and try to manage it like a project. Which I think is kind of unique to politics. Not everybody has that ability.
So is it fair to say that you're here kind of as a truth seeker? Like your paramount concern is transparency for the American people, whatever it...
Yeah, I'm a child of the 80s, so I've seen Star Wars, Star Trek. I've seen all of the sci-fi stuff and always really found it fascinating, but always parked it in the area of being sci-fi, of being fiction, right? And I still am very skeptical that this phenomenon is real, but I delved into it because I saw David Grush come forward in the news as a whistleblower and over, on television interviews was requesting to be able to meet with members of Congress. And I was a new member. I'd been here for 3 months and I thought, wait a minute, I'm a member of Congress. He's talking to me. And so We reached out, and that's kind of how this journey began.
And I mean, you're not just a member of the House Oversight Committee, you're also a member of the UAP caucus. Why do you care about it so much?
What I care about is doing a good job. And so I'm in that role. I'm on the committee. And if I'm going to be on the committee, I'm going to take the same approach that I took in the private sector and do my best and be aggressive and try to manage it like a project, which I think is kind of unique to politics. Not everybody has that ability.
So is it fair to say that you're here kind of as a truth seeker? Like your paramount concern is transparency for the American people, whatever it may be?
Yeah. I believe that this government belongs to the people. It's not, the people don't belong to the government.
One of the reasons that I wanted to come here and sit down with you is because you asked a question during that May UAP briefing that it was one of the most remarkable exchanges that I've ever heard on Capitol Hill. Mm-hmm. You and Eric Davis talking about the possibility of, aliens, different types of alien species that the U.S. government has allegedly come into contact with. It seemed to me like a shift in questioning from do UAPs exist to who or what are they? Who or what are in them? Why did you ask that question?
Yeah, because I felt like we've been treading this ground for a long time. Like, do they exist? What did you see? It was egg-shaped. It was a disc shape, all of that. What I wanted to get, that's why I'm trying to get into the details, specifically about the science. For me, that's probably the most fascinating part of this, is what is possible when it comes to propulsion technology. And the reason why I care about that is because I think that if we have life-changing breakaway technology that you and I could benefit from, I would like that to be released. I was sitting on the plane on the tarmac here for 3 hours at Reagan, stuck. And I was sitting there because of weather, and I thought, if it's true and we do have this kind of advanced propulsion, I'm going to be really angry.
You want to be able to use some of this advanced propulsion for yourself. Absolutely. If it exists.
Absolutely.
I just want to dig into this moment with you and Eric Davis a little bit more, because Eric Davis is a well-known, pretty well-respected physicist. He has had various top secret security clearances with the Pentagon over, decades. And here he is telling you about reptilians and insectoids and detailing 4 different types of alien species. And I've watched your face many times during that exchange, and
What would you describe my expression?
I don't want to put words on it, but I've been dying to know what was going through your mind as he was saying that.
Yeah, so I've heard those 4 creatures before. I've heard those 4 classifications in meetings in this office from other people. But what I wasn't expecting is for him to say it. I wasn't expecting Eric Davis, respected scientist, to say that. Mm-hmm. Now, my follow-up should have been, and you always think of what you should have asked as a follow-up.
I'll do that in this interview.
My follow-up should have been, okay, what level of evidence did you receive to make that conclusion, right? Have you personally seen these 4 different species? Have you seen the biologics of them? Have you seen, what evidence or was it relayed to you, secondhand or third hand?
And so you don't have any clarity on that yet? Because that was one of my big questions was he speaking from firsthand knowledge and experience in that moment with you? Or was he recounting what other people had told him? And it wasn't clear from my vantage point.
Yeah, it's not clear to me either, and I probably should just reach out and ask him that question. At that point, I felt like he wasn't speaking about having a firsthand experience. It was mostly speaking as an intellectual about the categorization and classifications that have been discussed.
But I guess he is somebody that would potentially have firsthand knowledge, right?
He potentially could be, but he also could just be assigned as a researcher. And what it appears to me is that he was often assigned on projects to kind of understand the science behind some things that were happening.
You know, I think a lot of people are going to see this and think what I thought when I saw it, which is it is wild that we are here on Capitol Hill and that we're finally discussing these things out in the open. Whether it's true or not, real or not real, we're using words like Greys, Nordics, Reptilians, and Insectoids in a formal UAP
it was
briefing.
Wild to me. It was wild that he said it openly to a member of Congress. And he is a highly respected scientist. So we just need to get the details. Like where did he get that information? But I moved to a different section. I was asking, can you elaborate? How big are these things?
Right.
How small?
And he's talking 4 or 5 feet tall. He's giving like actual sizes.
Right.
At this moment, some people watching this are going to be thinking, you guys are nuts. You're nuts to be holding hearings on this topic. I'm nuts to be making a video about this topic and be covering it. What do you have to say to the skeptics who just aren't buying any of this?
So I'm a skeptic, and I'm still a skeptic. I still do not buy this. But this is being researched. Your taxpayer dollars are being spent by the Department of Defense, by the intelligence community, by the Department of Energy on some of these programs. And I think that I owe it to you and the American taxpayer to figure out what is going on. So that is, I mean, to me, that's why I'm involved with this. And also, you know, if it's true, if this happens to be true, it's a paradigm shifting moment. I also think if it is true, it is absolutely not for this government to have that, to keep a secret like this from the people that they're supposed to be responsible to.
If it were to be true, do you think the American people could handle it?
I do. That, and I trust the American people. I think what I'm convinced is that some people will if something like this comes out as being true, and it's no doubt that it's true, there will be people that will read the headline and then go about their day. I'm convinced. Just knowing human behavior, at the end of the day, people might pause, but then eventually they're just going to move on with their life.
Do you think that aliens exist, or what do you think the other possibilities are of what these UAPs could be? Because there's something that we don't know what they are.
Yeah. So for me, I think, look, we live in an era where we have quantum computing that we've developed. It's mind-blowing technology, okay? And that is how computers have evolved to this point. But when you look at propulsion technology, you're still using technology that's almost 100 years old. And so, in my opinion, you just can't tell me, with all of the advancements that we've made, the fact that we discovered the Higgs boson particle, right? All of the discoveries in quantum physics, and that nobody has figured out a way to create some form of advanced propulsion. To me, that is the most likely scenario, is that there is a private contractor or two that are experimenting with advanced technology, maybe breakaway technology. They clearly don't have it mastered, because sometimes these things crash. That's what I would say is probably what's going on.
Advanced U.S. technology.
Or a foreign product.
Okay, so we've got advanced U.S. technology, advanced Chinese or Russian technology, potentially. We have the possibility of non-human intelligence or extraterrestrial life. Is there anything else I'm missing in the world of possibilities of what it could be?
Yeah, no, I think what's interesting is the possibility, what people are talking about, and this is what David Grush said in the hearing, is when I said, I just really doubt that this is little green men traveling from, light years away. His response was, the theory is that they are extra dimensional. And that that is an interesting and fascinating topic, and it does open up a realm of possibilities. But at that point, you also might as well say leprechauns are real, right? Or you know what I'm saying? It's something that's completely magical, mystical, but they're real, but they exist in a different dimension.
I mean,
Right.
When you say extra or interdimensional, what do you understand that to mean?
So, in quantum physics, quantum entanglement, in my opinion, does prove that we live on a plane of existence, or what they would call a brain of existence, like of a membrane of a more complicated universe that has higher dimensions than us. And quantum entanglement, I think, proves that, because you've got, when you take two photons, for example, and you entangle them with the same qualities, the same spin, or whether they're up or down, and you send them in opposite directions of the universe, the moment you touch one, the other one changes, and there's nothing traveling in between, right? They could be hundreds of thousands of light years apart, and yet these photons are instantaneously changed. That to me suggests that there's something deeper to our existence than the surface that we live on.
And that could somehow explain these unidentified aerial phenomena that we see in our skies.
Yeah. Well, and to me, and I just go back to what you can prove. You can prove quantum entanglement. And I think that because we can prove it, and it's been demonstrated, it's proof that there's more dimensions than this dimension. But the question is, and has yet to be proven, is there life in that other dimension?
What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know yet.
What about angels?
That's a good question. So I am a believer, and it's interesting, and that topic often overlaps with this, which is interesting, because a lot of Christians, I think, probably most Christians, don't believe that these two topics have anything to do with each other.
And you're a Christian,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think most Christians think that any knowledge of an alien race having an encounter with us would challenge the fundamental views of Christianity, right? The normal historical context. But then you talk to some who say, oh no, this would actually prove much of what's in the Bible. Because the Bible describes these extraterrestrial beings called angels that make their way here, deliver a message from God, and are gone. It's a fascinating concept. I've been accused by some of saying that I believe that that's true, but I'm not asserting that is true. I'm just simply saying this is what many people believe.
This conversation is like my favorite conversation to have. We're talking about angels. We're talking about potential aliens, quantum entanglement, maybe just advanced propulsion and US tech. But to me, this is the most fascinating topic of our time. And yet you have a conversation like you did with Eric Davis just 2 months ago, and so few people are talking about it. Why? I've got my own theories, but why do you think so few people are talking about this?
I don't know. I think that this topic, because it's a niche topic, and so some people really do care about this, but most people care more about the score of the baseball game or the football game, right?
Why?
or the Netflix series that's coming out, right?
Yeah.
So I don't get it, but at the end of the day, I know that there's money being spent. It's my responsibility to pursue what's going on.
Has your thinking evolved on this topic since you hired David Grush as a senior advisor. I mean, this is somebody who was a former U.S. intelligence officer who testified under oath that the U.S. is hiding non-human spacecrafts and that famous phrase, non-human biologics.
It definitely has given me some insight into the intelligence community. He has been a tremendous asset. David Grush has. He's so smart. Sometimes I have to ask him to translate or get a translator to dumb it down.
Like, don't speak in as many acronyms?
Right, so that I can understand what you just said. But he's been extremely helpful, because the reason why I hired him is because the Oversight Committee, which has some super talented, some of my favorite staff in this entire town are oversight staff, but they're not intel community people. And so until you have somebody that knows which rocks to turn over and where, what's behind door number 3, until you have somebody that knows how to navigate that system, you're going to get nowhere. And that's what I came to the conclusion of, which is why I pushed for him to be hired onto oversight staff. For me to hire him personally in my office as a consultant for me was the only way to make it work.
Did he help you with some of your questions for that May briefing?
He did. Yeah, David has been extremely helpful, provides questions. We have conversations, on a regular basis, and he's part of the team. In fact, whenever we have our team meetings, our team Zoom meetings each week with the district, David jumps in. And so he's definitely part of the team.
Did you have any hesitations to asking that question to Eric Davis, just out of fear of, I don't know, maybe public scrutiny from your peers, your colleagues on Capitol Hill, or your constituents?
Yeah, I'm at a place where I really don't care. I'm at a place where I'm just going to be honest and I try to forget that people are paying attention. At that moment, I was really just having a conversation. The only thing I was wishing for was more time.
Yeah.
Right? That's the frustrating thing, and I don't think people understand, is that when you're in these hearings, you've got 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's it. And 5 minutes goes like that. And so you've got to have a strategy, and it's almost like bull riding, where the gate opens and now you're off, and it can go in any direction. And so you got 5 minutes to get as much information out as possible. And sometimes it's not as easy as it looks.
It does not look easy, especially when other members of Congress are going to ask questions before you, and you may not know what they're going to ask.
Yeah, and then you cross out, can't
that
ask
one
that
was
question.
taken.
Right.
So what next? I mean, you and other members of the UAP caucus have said that you were hoping to have the next big UAP hearing this month in July. Now it's been postponed until at least September. Why the delay?
Scheduling conflict with members, but also we want to get it right, and so we're navigating getting the right witnesses, the best witnesses we possibly can. And so
by that, do you mean firsthand witnesses?
Yeah, we're focused on trying to get people that have got firsthand experience that can bring new conversations.
Firsthand experience with what?
With non-human intelligence.
Do you think you can get that?
We'll see. What's frustrating is that people that claim and will go on national news, many of them are not willing to come in and be under oath.
Why? Because of the public backlash?
I don't know why, but yeah, many of them are not willing to come in. And honestly, to their credit, this has not been good for many of them. If you're a whistleblower, you come forward and your career is done. You've got to figure out a new path in life. You lose your benefits, you lose your retirement, your pension, all of that. And then the stigma.
Yeah.
Right? I have sympathy for somebody that doesn't want to continue that and doesn't want to continue to be put in the spotlight. But that's to explain to you why it's so difficult. It is very difficult to get some of these people, the right witnesses, forward.
Is the committee at a point where they're reluctant to hold another UAP hearing until you can get those firsthand witnesses?
No, I think that we've got enough people that have agreed that we'll have a hearing. I'm just trying to get more people.
And it does feel like there was so much momentum in 2022, 2023. Grush testifies, and then it does feel like it stalled a bit, right? The momentum?
Well, honestly, I think it's accelerated. The momentum as far as a public hearing, maybe per se, has slowed. But behind the scenes, there's been a ton of activity that's happened.
So what am I missing? Like movement on whistleblower protections, UAP Disclosure Act, is that what you're talking about?
Well, there's that. But as far as getting the right briefings that we need, we've got movement there. We've got a change in leadership that is opening up an opportunity to get some more information to the Disclosure Task Force that was previously blocked. We have, with David Grush is leading the way, getting, helping us identify locations, sites, and the people to talk to. Some people we may have to subpoena to come forward. So he's got a categorization of friendly witnesses and then the hostile witnesses that we'll have to subpoena. And then there's like a middle category of people that would be friendly, but they're not going to come forward unless you subpoena them.
You think September's a realistic time frame, or could that push?
No, I think it's very realistic. The momentum is not slowing, and the amount of time and energy that people are spending on this, members of Congress, is not slowing. It's accelerated. I don't believe anybody's ever put forward this level of intensity on this in any previous Congress. So it is absolutely accelerating, and I would say give us the moment. We want to get it right. We don't want to have a hearing just for the sake of having a hearing. We want to have it be a productive hearing, and so give us that patience. The other thing I would say to the UAP community is stop being so mean to each other. I mean, the comments on social media and the internal fighting between people in this community, I mean, come on, give each other a break, right? What I really do not like is when somebody hates another person or hates on another person, and if I'm friends with both people, right? I don't want to get dragged into your conflict. That's and don't pull me in either way. I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay. What's the best word? Neutral.
Neutral. You're Switzerland.
Yeah, I try to be Switzerland.
What about crash retrieval programs? Do you believe that there is one and that the U.S. is hiding something?
100% there is a crash retrieval program. Whether or not it's retrieving ET is a whole nother question. For example, what happened whenever they killed Osama bin Laden, they had some seriously advanced tech on one of those helicopters, and unfortunately they had to that copter crashed. We definitely need, and it feels comforting to know that we do have a crash retrieval program to protect our national security interests, or if there's a crash of an adversary, to identify what they're working on as well. So I think that I can definitively say 100% we have a crash retrieval program.
The question is, what exactly is it retrieving?
Right. The question is, and Jacob Barber, who came out publicly that he was part of that program, indicated that most of the retrievals were domestic or foreign, but they were terrestrial. That there were these rare events that occurred. In his testimony, there were rare events where they were extraterrestrial.
And in those rare events where potentially it was extraterrestrial, do you think there is a reverse engineering program? And if so, has it been successful?
Yeah, that until that's proven, it's going to be hard, because people are speculating that. Whenever I mention quantum physics or fiber optics, all of this advanced technology that we have today, it's convenient for people to say, oh yeah, we only have that because we reverse engineered it, right? And until that's proven, people are going to speculate.
What is your theory on why the government would hide these things about UAPs or UFOs, whatever they may be? Why the secrecy?
I mean, it could be embarrassment, because it could be that that they know that they are incapable of doing anything about it, and that any release of information would just cause an outcry and a frustration with the government and its inability to do anything. So that could be the scenario. It could also just be ineptitude. I tell people, never underestimate the laziness of government employees. No offense to every government employee. I'm just saying that there are a lot who drop the ball and it's hard to rely on. It may very well be that they just don't want to look silly.
Do you think you or the American people are ever going to get to the moment where you feel like, this is the truth. I finally know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
We may. I mean, there's a possibility, but there's also a possibility that I just continue to hit dead ends. And at some point, you're just going to have to cut bait, right? And
what does that mean?
At some point, when you explore all possibilities and come to no conclusion, at some point you can't continue. You can't do this forever. No.
So what's your time limit? Like, what do you have a time limit in your head of how much longer you can push for this?
I wouldn't say that I have like a time limit per se, but there will come a point where I've exhausted as much as I can, and I'm just gonna have to move on.
So what is your level of hope as we sit here today that you are going to be able to get the level of transparency that you are currently seeking?
I would say it like this: I have more hope today than I did a year ago.
Are there things that people like you or me, members of Congress or people in the media, that we could be doing better to get the word out that this is a conversation that we should be having?
Yeah, if there's one thing that I think would be helpful is for a groundswell of public demand from the White House and from the president. I think that the president has a posture of being open to disclosure, and he's clearly demonstrated that with particularly with the JFK files and recently the MLK files that were released. So we've had a lot of early wins. I think that the UAP is a topic that the president should look. He's the disclosure president. It would be historic if he leveled with the American people and was able, if there was information that the president has.
Well, one of the president's sons, Don Jr., has expressed some real interest on this topic as well. Have you heard anything from the White House or President Trump lately about a willingness to kind of push this topic forward?
I've made requests to the White House, and they've been positively received.
Okay.
So I won't elaborate on what those requests are at this time, because I don't want to. I don't want to spoil what might happen.
Okay. Well, that's quite the tease.
But I would say, the White House has been surprisingly. This administration is surprisingly helpful.
So in my family, we talk about this all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm curious, what kind of conversations you have with your family?
Well, I mean, my daughters care more about boys right now than anything. They're both teenagers, so they roll their eyes whenever anybody comes up to me and wants to talk about this topic or talk about politics in general. So,
Really?
yeah. What's great about being a dad of teenage daughters is that it keeps you humble.
Yeah, they don't think you're cool no matter what you do.
No, absolutely not.
What about your wife? I mean, this can be a really polarizing topic.
Yeah, I think she feels the same way as my daughters. What about your parents?
Good question. I've asked my parents, did they see anything while they were in space? Did they notice anything unusual? Both of them say they didn't see anything. My dad in particular is a pretty open-minded guy. Like he's a reformed hippie. I thought like for sure this guy would be all in on the various UFO theories, but he's not. So he's one of those skeptics that I got to try to convert.
Pesky skeptics.
Yeah. And my mom doesn't really. Neither of them have given. That's the number one question she gets asked when she goes and gives speeches is, like, did you see UFOs or aliens in space?
They probably get sick of it.
They do. That's exactly what it is. They're tired of being asked about it because I don't think they saw anything.
Yeah.
But
Whenever I go back home, I give speeches and I'll talk about all the things, and I'll rattle off all the things that I accomplished. Right.
yeah.
And the bills that I'm working on and the committees I'm chairing and all of this stuff. And then I go, I say, but UFOs, everybody, that's one thing everybody wants to talk about. And the room usually erupts in laughter.
Well, and it's actually kind of bipartisan, right? Of all the
Yeah.
things you do.
It's very bipartisan. It's kind of brought me and some other Democrats together on a topic that, Democrats that are far left.
I mean,
And I'm
what
far
other
right.
issue can do that?
And it exactly.
Huh.
It is very bipartisan.
One final thought exercise. I know you can't say if aliens are real or not, but hypothetically speaking, would you want there to be other intelligent life in this universe, or would you prefer for humans to be alone?
I believe in God, and I believe that God probably created more life than us. And it would be neat to someday, interact with other creations of that God.
I feel the same way. I hope we're not alone. It'd be kind of lonely in this big, dark, endless void if we were.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for letting me interview you,
Absolutely.
Congressman. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we're coming back for the next hearing. We'll be here.
Good. It'll be fun.